So last class we have discussed about XPSR register. So what is that XPSR register? So what is XPSR? Can anyone summarize PSR registers? Yes. So what is XPSR?
Program system.
XPSR is a program status register. So it is a combination of three registers: application PSR, okay, application PSR, execution PSR, and interrupt PSR. Okay, so all these three registers are composed in a single register. So that is referred as XPSR. Okay, along with that, we have four special function register for that is for controlling the processor execution. So the priority mask, fault mask, base priority, and control register. So these, along with XPSR, we have four special function register to control the activities of your microprocessor. That is ARM processor. Is that clear, students? We able to remember this?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the XPSR, APSR. APSR provides the all the status of your mathematical flag along with greater than equal conditional attribute. Okay. So here we have five flag. One is the negative flag. Second one is the zero flag. Third one is the carry. Fourth one is the overflow. And Q is the saturation. So it's enhanced. So this flag will be affected for the enhanced instructions, DSP instructions. Okay, and these registers can be accessed by using these two instructions, MRS and MSR. Okay, MRS means we can transfer the data from special function register to general purpose register. MSR means register to special function register. So we can access the entire 32-bit register content through this MRS and MSR. And IPSR, these bits are utilized by this IPSR register. It holds the current ongoing interrupt exception number. Okay, I will explain that later. And EPSR holds two important bit assignment. One is the interrupt continuable instruction. Other one is the if then else instruction. And second one is the thumb state. It will reflect the state of your processor. So this bit is always one. Is it clear, students? So this is the complete bit assignment of your XPSR register. Some of the bits are not utilized, so that bits are reserved for future modifications. Okay. And also I have explained about your signed number operation. So your MSB bit holds the signed magnitude. When the bit is 1 means, this particular bit is 1 means the number is a negative number, otherwise a positive number. So overflow flag will be affected based on the signed arithmetic operations. Okay. So this is your 32-bit signed number for your ARM Cortex. So this is divided into positive and negative numbers. Okay. So this is your positive range of numbers, and this is your negative range of numbers. So the negative number always starts with 1. That is your D31 always 1. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, and also I have explained this signed number arithmetic, and so how do you differentiate your signed number arithmetic and unsigned number arithmetic? And also I have explained about this overflow flag status. So this overflow flag will be set based on these two conditions. So V is set to 1 in either two cases. So there is a carry from D30 to D30 first, no carry out of D31. Okay, and there is a carry from 31 out, but no carry from D30 to D31. That case, your overflow flag will be set to 1, which means that your result exceeds the limit. So that is the meaning. So we need to correct that is, we will get an error data, we need to correct that. So in this example, your negative flag is set to 1 and carry flag is 0 and overflow flag is set to 1. So here we are adding two positive number, but we are getting the negative number. So the value is exceeded. So for that case, your overflow flag set to 1. So do you have any doubts up to this? Yes. Students, please interact.
No, ma'am.
No,
No
ma'am.
doubt.
So next, interrupt program status register. So before explaining this, actually interrupt program status register, what is the difference between interrupt and exception? Can anyone tell me? Tell me the answer. What is the difference between interrupt and exception? So both are same or different?
Different, ma'am.
Different. So what is interrupt?
Hardware.
Okay. So these two are unpredicted events. Okay. So these two terms, that is interrupts and exceptions, occurred at unpredicted intervals. Okay. So it can be a internal, it can be generated either internally or external. Okay. So it's an unpredicted event. So what it will do is it will change the program flow of, that is change the flow of current executing program. So it will change the flow of current program execution. So when it is happened, when it is occurred, your current program control is transferred to ISR, interrupt service routine, or exception handler. Exception handler. Okay. So the hardware interrupts are referred as interrupt. And software related interrupts are called as exceptions. Please note it down. So we have our two classifications: software related interrupt, hardware related interrupt. Hardware related interrupt can be generated, can be triggered internally or externally. Okay. So this can be generated internally or externally. So external interrupt sources, that is external interrupt requests are generated mostly by your peripheral device or communication interfaces. And exceptions can be triggered internally. So that is within the process. Is that clear, students? Can you identify the difference between the terms interrupt and exception?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this interrupt will be handled by ISR, interrupt service routine. And your exception will be handled by exception handler. It is very similar to your ISR. So exceptions will be handled by exception handler. Suppose if you are dividing a number by 0, okay? Suppose if you divide the number by 0, that case divide by 0 exception will be generated. divide by 0. So it is a one type of software exception that will be generated internally to indicate that we are doing some illegal operation. Okay, and also if your program fetches illegal opcodes, that is your opcode is not correct, that case exception will be generated. So exception means it is a software related interrupts, okay, which will indicate the software faults. Okay, so interrupt is nothing but a external event. So it may be a external event or internal event. Okay, so when it is occurred, that case your ISR will be called. So in case of your interrupt and exception, so both the operation will be same. So whenever it happened, that is whenever the interrupt or exception is triggered, so your program control, that is your current program execution is stopped. Okay, your current program execution is stopped. Your program control is transferred to ISR or exception handler. Once this ISR execution is completed, your normal operation will be resumed. Is that clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Once the interrupt is activated, interrupt or exception is activated, the processor stops its current activity and program control is transferred to ISR. So this ISR will take care of the operation related to that particular interrupt. Once this ISR execution is completed, your processor resumes its activity, which means your program control transfers to your current program, that is main program. Okay. So coming back to this interrupt program status register. So this interrupt program register uh, indicates which exception the processor handling. Okay, one second. So it contains the exception type number of current ISR. Okay. So this one contains the, please note it down, it contains the exception type number of current ongoing ISR. So every ISR is associated with one type number. So this register holds the exception type number, the current ongoing exception type number. So the bit 9 to 13 are reserved for future modification, and only it utilizes the bits from 0 to 8, that is last LSB 8 bits. 0 to 8. Okay, so this will hold the this will hold the current ongoing your exception number, type number. So every interrupt source is associated with one exception number. So this will hold the exception type number of current ongoing ISR. Okay. So if this value is 0 means it is in thread mode. Okay. 1 is reserved and 2 is the non-maskable interrupt, which means your processor is executing non-maskable interrupt. 3 means hard fault. 4th means memory management. 5th one, it will indicate bus fault exception. 6 is the usage fault. 7 to 10 are reserved and 11 is the supervisor call and 12, 13 are reserved and 14 is the pen supervisor call and 15 is the system hits. So first 15 from 1 to 15 are referred as exceptions. That is software related interrupts. So it is divided into, that is your NVIC unit, that is non-vector interrupt control unit, supports 255 interrupt requests. Okay. So under this 255, we have 15 exceptions plus 240 hardware interrupts. So totally we have 255 interrupt sources. So here look at this number, from IR naught to N plus 15, we have 255 hardware interrupt. It's 240. 240 plus 15 exception. Totally 255. So this one is the thread mode. So this 0 is not utilized for interrupt purpose. So your processor always starts with thread mode, and 1 to 15 is for exception and remaining for hardware interrupts. So 240 plus 15, totally 255 interrupt. So NVIC unit can support up to 255 interrupt requests. Is it clear, students? So during the execution of every interrupt request, so this register holds the ongoing ISR number. So it contains the exception type number of current ISR. Is it clear? Do you have
Yes.
any doubts? So here n plus 15. Just look at the last line, n plus 15. Your n is 240 plus 15 number of system exceptions. 15 number of system exception. So 240 plus 15, 255 interrupt sources. So your interrupt sources are classified into software interrupts and hardware interrupts. Software interrupts are called as exception. So according to your Cortex M architecture, we have 15 exceptions which will support software related errors, software related faults. Okay. Remaining are hardware interrupts from 16 to 39. Okay. Is that clear, students? Any doubts? Do you have any doubts?
No.
Yes. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So next one is the execution process status register. So this register contains the thumb state bit. So this bit is always 1. So this bit is always 1. Okay. And execution state bits for if then instruction and interrupt continuable instruction. So 25 to 26 utilized for if then or interruptible continuable instruction, and 10 to 15 bits are utilized for ICI or IP. So we have 3 status. That is, the execution program status reflects 3 status: thumb state bit, okay, and interrupt continuable instruction, and if then instruction. Is that clear, students? 10 to 15, 24, 25 to 26. Okay. So first I will explain this ICI. Okay. For interrupt instruction. So when interrupt occurs during the execution of an LDM, load multiple register. Please note down the instructions. STM. Okay. Push or power. So when interrupt occurs during the execution of these instructions, okay, so that case So what the processor will do is, first step, so LDM is load and load multiple instruction. STM is store multiple instruction. Okay. Once again. So first step, okay, please note it down. Your processor stops load multiple store instructions. First, it will stop load multiple and store instruction, and second step, okay, it stores the next operand in the EPSR, that is, stores the next operand to EPSR register. That is 15 to 12. Okay. And third one, your program controllers, that is your program counter is loaded with ISR. Okay. Fourth step, after servicing the interrupt, the processor returns to the register pointed by this 12 to 15. So the return address will be holded by this 12 to 15. So it returns to the register pointed by bits. Okay. And fifth step, it resumes execution of multiple load or store instructions. Okay. So when interrupt occurs during the execution of an LDM, STM, push and pop instruction, okay, so the processor stops the instruction execution and stores the return address into the EPSR register. So this particular 12 to 15 holds the return address, and your program counter is loaded with the starting address of ISR. And once after servicing the interrupt, the processor returns to the registers pointed by bits 15, that is 12 to 15, and resumes its execution. That is by executing multiple load and store instruction. Okay. So when the EPSR holds ICA execution state, suppose if it is in ICA execution state, this 25 to 26 and 11 to 10 are 0, because only these three bits are utilized. Please note it down. 26 to 25, okay, and 11 to 10. When the EPSR holds ICA execution state, okay, the bits 25 to 26 and 10 to 11 are 0. Is that clear, students? Is that clear? See here, 25 to 26 will be utilized for two purposes. One is for holding ICA execution state, or if then instruction execution state. Similarly, 10 to 15 will be utilized for two purposes, either ICI or IT. Okay. So during the execution of this particular instruction, when interrupt occurs, the processor will do all these steps. Okay. That case, the 12 to 15 are utilized. So remaining bits are 0. Is that clear? Yes or no?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
response is very low today. Huh? Yes or no? Are you able to
Yes.
follow this? Are you able to follow this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So, so this is about your interruptible continuable instruction. Okay. So 25 to 26 and 10 to 15. Okay. But in case of interrupt continuable instruction, interrupt continuable execution state, only 12 to 15 bits are utilized. Remaining bits are 0. Okay. So what is the next one? Next one is the if-then instruction. So I will explain this. So actually, the particular bit, that is 10 to 50 and 25 to 26, are used to hold the if-then instruction execution state. Okay. So look at this program. Compare R0, comma #0, and this is the instruction for checking the if then execution state, ITE equal. So it is a conditional attribute. Okay, is that clear? So this is if then else equal. Equal is the conditional attribute. So this is the syntax. Okay, IT if then X, Y, Z. Okay, and condition. So this X specifies the condition switch for the second instruction in the IT block. Suppose this is your IT block. Okay, this is your IT. Here we can include 4 instruction based on the conditions switch mentioned in this block. Okay, so X specify the condition switch for the second instruction in the IT block. Okay, Y specify the condition switch for the third instruction in the IT block, and Z specify the condition switch for the fourth instruction in the IT block. Okay, IT block is nothing but if then block, and this CON, the COND specify the condition for first instruction. So we can have 4 instruction: first instruction, second instruction, third, and fourth. Okay. So your X specifies the condition switch for second instruction. Y specify the condition switch for third. Z specifies the condition switch for fourth. And this COD holds the condition switch for your first instruction. So this is the format you have to follow. So this particular register holds the status of IT execution state. If this IT block is executed, the execution state of that IT block will be holded by this particular bits, that is 10 to 50 and 25 to 26. Okay. So look at this first example. If then, okay, else EQ. So this EQ is for your first instruction. So COND. So I have incorporated 2 instruction under this block. Okay, under this IT block, I have incorporated 2 instruction. Okay, so this equal conditional attribute is for first instruction. First, I am comparing R0 content with 1. Okay, if it is equal, the first instruction will be executed. Else, the second instruction will be executed. So that is the concept of this IT block. So under this IT block, we can incorporate 4 conditional instruction based on the conditional attribute. Is that clear, students? If then means the first instruction will be executed. If both are equal, okay, this will be executed. If both are not equal, this will be executed. Okay, so T means then, E means else. Apply the condition COND to the instruction. Else means apply the reverse condition. Okay, just you look at this example, you can understand it clearly. So compare R0 comma hash 10. What is the instruction? Just you analyze this instruction. How many T's are here and how many E is here? Just you look at the sentence, look at the statement. If, then, else, not equal. Okay, so not equal is a conditional attribute here. Okay, so then means if the condition is false. Then means if condition is false. E means else. Okay, that is the inverse condition. Okay, so just look at this statement. If, then, else, not equal. So this not equal is for first instruction. Okay, is it clear, students? So this then is for first instruction. Next then is for your second instruction. So this else is for third instruction. So we have three instructions. Okay, I am comparing this R0 register with 10. If both are not equal, okay, first case this will be executed. So this instruction does not update condition flags. Second, I have incorporated 10. Okay, so the condition is true. This will be executed. Okay, if both are not equal, my third condition is else. That case, third instruction will be executed. Is that clear?
Yes.
So do you want me to repeat this? So consider this example. Please analyze these three statements and tell me. So how many instructions are conditional here?
2, ma'am.
2 inst
Okay. What are the instructions?
Then
add GT and
Add GT is add greater than. Okay. Add LE means add lesser than. Okay. So GT is greater than. LE is lesser than. If then means your conditional attribute is greater. I'm comparing this R0 with hash 10. Okay. If it is greater, the first instruction will be executed. Okay. If it is lesser, this will be skipped and this will be executed. Is that clear?
yes.
Okay. 1 second. So you look at this table. For one conditional execution instruction, the syntax is IT. Please note it down. Two conditional execution instruction, we can have ITT. If then, or if then else. For three conditional execution, we have four combination ITTT, ITT else, IT else then, IT else, that is if then else else. So we can incorporate 3 conditional execution instruction under this category. 4 conditional execution. So we can have how many combination? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 combination. Okay. So look at this first one conditional instruction, IT. IT equal. So IT equal means the conditional attribute is equal. So before this statement, before this you have to compare, you have to use compare instruction. Okay. If both the numbers are equal, this instruction will get executed. That is the meaning. So one conditional instruction group, we can have one conditional statement. Two conditional instruction, we can have two conditional statement. The syntax is if, then, else, and conditional attribute. So we have 16 combination of conditional attribute. You can use any one of this: equal, greater, lesser, larger, carry, clear carry set, okay, overflow set. Many combinations are there. I will explain. I will cover that in the unit 2. Okay. So if the condition is true, first instruction will be executed. Else, second will be executed. Okay. And 3 conditional instruction. If the condition is true, greater than, your first will be executed. If the condition is false, okay, second will be executed. Again, then is given here. So if the condition is true, third instruction will be executed. And 4 conditional instruction, if the condition is true, first will be executed. Okay. So this T is for add not equal. This else is for equal, inverse condition. Okay. Next, then means the condition is not equal. So not equal, not equal. So we can incorporate 4 conditional statement under one block. So I will cover more detailed explanation. That I will give more detailed explanation in unit 2. Okay. So in this case, your execution program status register holds the execution state for this IT block instruction. Is that clear, students? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So under XPSR, we have 3 register. One is PSR, and second one is the interrupt program status register. Interrupt exception type number of current ongoing interrupt service routine. Okay. And this execution program status register holds the execution status of your IT instruction and interrupt continuable instruction. Okay. And the thumb bit is always 1 because your ARM Cortex M processor follows thumb 2 technology. There is no ARM state. Okay. Suppose if you are trying to modify this bit, particular bit, okay, so trying to clear this bit will cause fault exception error. Okay. So next class we will see about the remaining special function registers for interrupt handling, exception mask registers. There is priority mask, fault mask, and base priority. Okay. Is it clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.